Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as always on a Friday, we're having your month ahead log here. We're going to have a look at the CFS V2 and the Japanese long range model, and we're going to see what they're both showing for month ahead. It's going to take us into the latter stages of October, so we're going well into the middle of the autumn with the extended videos now. Coming up this afternoon, we'll have a detailed look at the weather for next week to 10 days with the GFS, ECM, and we'll also see what's happening in the tropical Atlantic as well, so that will be with you here on the homepage this afternoon. Big weekend of updates coming up, and I'll talk you through those at the end of the video. But starting it all off is JMA Friday, so we're going to have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the JMA. So we're looking at the North Pole view down. First of all, this is North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here. Middle latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet. There's an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. Now, I've got to make sure I get this right, because yesterday I got this wrong. So, the brighter colours, yellow, orange and red, are extrapolating to above average heights, which is high pressure. And the darker colours, the blue colours, they are extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure. So that's it, and we're looking at these broken out into week periods. So the first week period will take us from today, the 28th of September, through to the 5th of October. We find that we've got an area of above average heights out to the west of the UK, with below average heights up to the north and also to the east. The flow and the jet, therefore, doing something a little bit like that. So although we're close to this ridge of above average heights just to our west, actually it could be a little bit unsettled. We are bringing an influence from the jet stream down through the country, and probably rather cool as well. So as we bring that jet stream down, dip it down through northern Europe, we probably find cool air coming down from the north or the northwest into UK. So it's not particularly unsettled, don't get me wrong. There wouldn't be tremendous amounts of rain, but there probably would be showery conditions. And I think maybe it's probably generally quite cool with that area of high pressure centred just to our west. Very little change for week 2. This one takes us from the 5th through to the 12th of October. Again, we have above average heights centering out to west of the UK, below average heights up to the north and also to the east. Means that, again, we're bringing the jet stream through the country rather like that, dipping it down. There's a dip within the 500 millibar flow, and we are impacted by that to some degree. So, again, although the ridge is just out to our west, you'll probably expect quite showery conditions with that. And, again, relatively cool with the temperatures. I think that could be the message from JMA Friday today. Relatively cool temperatures coming up through at least the first half of October. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, taking us from the 12th through to 26th of October. A little bit of a change with this one. So the above average heights down to the southwest of the country, below average heights across central parts of Europe just there, and also in the Atlantic. It's a very messy picture, and then quite a blocking signal actually over top of the North Pole. So quite what we make of that, I'm not sure. Remember, it's a 2-week anomaly as well, so it could be a little bit transition. It might be something like week 3 is very similar to the charts that we've just been looking at. Then week 4 sees some sort of big change towards a blocking area of high pressure. You never totally rules something like that out when you're dealing with a 2-weekly anomaly. It does look quite complicated. Overall, though, I would suggest rather cool conditions continuing, really. The flow and the jet would still be probably doing something a little bit like that, I would have thought. That might be a bit wrong, but probably doing something like that. And so I think we still have an influence from air from the north, really, with this. And maybe turning a little bit more unsettled as well, perhaps. Although, again, the 2 troughs are actually away from us. So very complicated chart, that. Very difficult to decipher what is going on there. But I would suspect there's nothing to suggest relatively warm weather. Anyway, so quite a cool October could be on the way here. Let's have a look at the mid-latitude and tropical view in terms of temperature and precipitation anomalies. British Isles just here in the top right-hand corner of the chart as we're looking at it. So again, we have the above average heights in week 1 out to the west of the country. We can't see the pole, but we have just had a look at that view. Of course, North Pole is just here off the top of the chart. Can't really see Scandinavia either, but we know there's a trough over Scandinavia and dipping down through central parts of Europe. The flow on the jet is going rather like that. So we are bringing the jet stream through the UK, and so despite the fact we have that area of above average heights to our west, it's not totally settled. That said, precipitation anomalies are coming out rather drier than average, especially so to the west of the UK, which you expect because we have got a ridge through there, and most parts of the British Isles are on the drier than average side. So I think showery at times, yes, particularly so for the north, but for the anomaly over the week, it does look quite dry. Temperatures are cool, though, coming out below average with those temperature anomalies in the week ahead from the 28th of September to the 5th of October. Very similar conditions continuing through week 2. The 5th through to 12th of October still has that ridge of above average heights out to our west. We still bring the flow and the jet stream through rather like that. The mean trough is over to the east of the country, but we have got influence there from the jet stream. Precipitation anomalies are still coming out on the drier than average side, although it looks a little bit more unsettled for Scotland, but overall still coming out reasonably dry. Temperatures, though, still look quite disappointing. So dry but cool through the first half of October with JMA Friday today. Temperatures from the 5th through to 12th of October are coming out cooler than average once again. And then we have this very complicated pattern setting up for weeks 3 and 4. We have an area of above average heights down to our southwest. We have below average heights out to the northwest. We have below average heights also across Central Europe, and we can't see the pole view, but we have got quite a bit of northern blocking appearing over the North Pole up there. So what do we make of that from a temperature and precipitation perspective? Let's deal with precipitation first of all. Bit of a north-south split for rainfall. So Scotland is forecast to be a little bit wetter than average. England and Wales still coming out a bit drier than average. So quite a dry October being signalled here from the JMA model today. Notice though many parts of Europe are actually coming out with above average precipitation. And temperatures still look cool. It's definitely set on a cool October now, the JMA. So below average temperatures continue from the 12th through to the 26th of October. But I have to emphasise, in terms of the 500 millibar height anomaly, that is very complicated anomaly. It could well be transitional, so it may be that some sort of change is going on in the second half of October. Let's have a look at CFS V2. So again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 28th of September to the 4th of October. The coming week has above average heights out to the west of the country with below average heights up to the north and the northeast. It means happening something like that with the flow, with the jet. So again, we are blocking off the Atlantic, so it's not particularly unsettled, although we probably do get an influence from the jet stream which might bring showery conditions into particularly the north at time. The main thing I think is that the air is being pulled down from the northern Atlantic, from Greenland, from Iceland, so it's not going to be particularly warm. Actually, it could be rather on the cool side. We go through to week 2, which is the 5th through to the 11th of October. Very little change, so both models are in agreement for the pattern for the first half of October, which is above average heights down to the southwest and to the west, below average heights up to the north. The wind and the flow is coming from a northwesterly direction, so again rather cool, and particularly for the north I would have thought a bit showery. Week 3 looks more unsettled. This is the 12th through to the 18th of October. We start to push this high pressure back into the middle of the Atlantic. So a mid-Atlantic ridge is setting up with the below average heights deepening over and to the north of the UK. And it still looks very cool as well, because we're on the cool side of a jet stream there as we have this trough within the 500 millibar flow. So the only difference really is that week 3 is more unsettled, more in way of rain, and temperatures probably quite cool as well. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 19th to 25th of October. That one looks really unsettled too, with below average heights centred over to the northwest of the country. Above average heights look like they're singing a little bit further south. So the only difference with this is that it's perhaps not quite as cool, a little bit more of a west-southwesterly flow. Perhaps, but the emphasis really is on cool, dry conditions, or dryish conditions through the first half of October, and then cool and wetter conditions perhaps through the second half of October. Temperature anomalies for the week ahead from the 28th of September to 4th of October are forecast to be cooler than average for the UK, and most parts of Europe are coming out cooler than average in the week ahead as well. Week 2, which is the 5th through to the 11th of October, that also forecast to be on the cooler than average side. Week 3, which is the 12th to the 18th of October, that one is also coming out cooler than average. So this is a very cool October being seen here. If this is right, we're in for our first cooler or colder than average month that we've had since March. It's been a very long time coming, but if this is right, then temperatures should be coming out below average for October. Although week 4, which is the 19th to the 25th, as the flow just reverts a little bit more west-southwesterly as opposed to northwesterly or northerly. Week 4 does see the temperatures lifting up a little bit, going back closer to average. And then finally, precipitation-wise, well, it's much drier than average in the week ahead. So the 28th of September, 4th of October, drier than average precipitation anomaly. Still generally on the drier than average side for week 2 as well. So cool and dry basically sums it up through the first half of October. But then we get this change as that trough deepens from the 12th to the 18th of October. We're turning wetter than average then. And then we keep it wetter than average from the 19th to the 25th of October as well. So what do we make of that? I think the general trend is to keep the temperatures on the cool side, certainly through the first half of October, coming out cooler than average. If these models are right, we could well be in for our first below average month in terms of temperature since March, which would be really quite noteworthy. We had a very long run of above average temperatures from April through to July. August and now September have seen a lowering of the temperature anomaly, although still for August, anyway, still a little bit above average. September, I think, is going to come out very close to average. And then do we go cooler than average in October? It looks like we may do if the JMA and CFS V2 are right. In terms of the overall pattern, so the first half of October looks rather dry, really still an anticyclonic signal, albeit pulling the air down from the northwest, so quite cool. But it does look as though some sort of change is going on around the middle of October, taking us into the second half of October, and that change could well be to something more unsettled. So with time, could well be that we're going not only cool, but also unsettled the further into October we're going. Obviously, this is all highly experimental. These charts are prone to chopping and changing, so next week could look very different. Just a snapshot of how things are looking today. It could all look completely different when we get through to next week's update. So that's JMA Friday. Don't come back this afternoon. We'll have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. Over the weekend, got a lot of updates coming up. So tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have weekend forecasters. Also, we'll have a week to 10 day update. And kicking it all off tomorrow will be the first seasonal model roundup for the winter of 2018-19. We're going to get something like 10 or 11 long-range models together, see what they're all showing for the winter of 2018-19 for the very first time. So that's going to be quite an interesting one. And then, of course, on Sunday, we've got the big one. It will be the 5th winter updates. It's going to be a little bit of a solar cycles special, as well as all the regular stuff that we look at in the winter updates. So big weekend of updates coming up. Do keep checking back for more. But we have got a video this afternoon looking at the weather for the next week to 10 days. Right, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.